Whoever's coming out of the spring as a 1 will probably be going as a 1 into the fall. So the guys that have been at linebacker with Braylon Mitchell, Dante Carr, and Lake, those guys have been working with the 1s pretty much consistently through the majority of spring.
We won't get a chance to talk to Brett before the game. Do you know what the scoring rules are going to be? Who's going to be teamed up with who?
It's going to be good versus good, 1s versus 1s, 2s versus 2s, and a lot of people do spring games differently around the country. Have done them different ways. Some people have a different scoring system. We're just going out to play ball. We can't get enough of just playing regular football. From a defensive standpoint, are we at a disadvantage? Yeah, we are, because the offense can score all the time. Coach will have some things set up between quarters where we'll have a field goal challenge, and every field goal that a kicker makes, it goes on as a defensive point. So there's a chance for us to score based on how the kickers do. So they better do good. But it's just going to be 1s, 1s, 2s, 2s, and that's the way we're going to roll with it.
What do you want Fisher and McKinney done switching from cornerback to safety?
You know what? They've done a good job. Are they ready to compete with Gaines and Bennett? No, they're not, but they've done a good job, and it's helped us with our depth at the safety position. It's created some competition. Early on they were doing pretty well because we didn't have a lot in, but once we started to get more volume with the package, mentally they struggled a little bit, but I think in the long run it's going to be the best for them and the best for us.
Ideally, what do you want to get out of a spring game? I mean, is just another practice, want to improve, or is there more to it because there's a little more pomp and circumstance?
Well, right now as a new staff, the biggest thing that we haven't been able to see our kids is in a situation with fans out there. It's been closed to the public. We're hoping for a great crowd. We'd love to have a record crowd out there with the new staff and give our kids a chance to play in front of a crowd and get juiced up a little bit. But we want to see how they handle that situation, because it's one thing to go out here in the empty stadium, go in the indoor and practice. It's a whole nother when you got to go out there in front of people and a lot of eyes on you, and then you got to be able to get a line, communicate, and execute the calls. And we want to see how kids handle that situation.
Brett talked about the other day about the 1s going against the 1s all spring and how beneficial that has been. What's your take on that?
I love it. I wouldn't have it any other way. The only way you're going to get good is going against good people. And if you constantly go, you're good guys against the backups or whatever, you're not going to go against the best people, and you're not going to get better. And, he established that at Wisconsin. We did goods all the way through the week. Even on Thursday practices, we did good versus good. Leading up to a game, and it'll be no different here. But to me, it's the only way that you can get better. You've heard the saying, iron sharpens iron, and that's the way, we approach it. And we've gotten better on both sides because of it.
What is it about Carr that's impressed you guys? Because he's a guy who really couldn't get on the field the first couple of years here.
Well, from what I've understood, the 3 linebackers that are going with the 1s right now, none of them have really played. And, we said this from the start when we got here. We don't care what anybody's done in the past. It's a new slate for everybody. We're going to judge you based on what you do since our time is here, and he's done a great job. Does he have a long way to go? Absolutely. Again, like I said before, I'm not going to stand up here and tell you we're ready to play a game by any means or that we're any good. We're better, a lot better. He's a lot better. He has shown a presence out there at the Mike linebacker position. He's communicating better. He's trying to become a student of the game. He's becoming a more physical linebacker. And, all those things are making him better, and they're making us better. If you don't have a Mike linebacker right down the middle of the defense, you're going to be in trouble. And he's made drastic improvements. Atiga's made drastic improvements. But, again, my reoccurring theme is we got a long way to go.
I think he's played Mike before, so what made you pick him to put him there?
Well, when you look at the linebackers, we had to put somebody there. He happened to be the biggest one, so we put him in the middle and let him go. You're looking at ability. We had a chance to watch these guys move around in our off-season workouts, and just from a movement standpoint, he fit what we were looking for at the Mike linebacker position. He wasn't going to be an outside backer in our scheme and what we're trying to do, so he had to play Mike linebacker, and of all the guys we put in there, he's kind of risen to the top.
Gaines probably played a little before schedule, I would say, starting a bunch of games last year. I don't know how much you look back at what he did, but what have you know of what he did, and what has he done for you?
Well, I can't honestly tell you what he did a year ago. I just know from hearsay. My gut tells me that he was a young player, and when he got out there against some really good competition, he probably wasn't in the right spots very much. And this spring, that's something we've really tried to work on. Like today, we talked today in the red zone. We did a red zone period. We gave up a couple plays in the red zone, and it was more about us not doing the right call or executing the call. And from what I understand, that was probably a problem with both Rohan and Eric Bennett last year. They just didn't execute the calls the right way. I don't see that as a problem right now. Now, Saturday we get out in front of hopefully a huge crowd. We'll see how he responds and how he handles his responsibilities there, but he has done an outstanding job being in the right spots, executing the calls, and it's allowed him to make plays because of it this spring.
How much stability is your front four, the top front four brought as far as the spring balls?
Well, those guys have been the strength of our defense, and anywhere I've been, if you've been good on defense, you've been good because you've had an outstanding defensive line, and those four guys up there have been really good so far throughout spring. And again, hopefully they stay healthy. The good thing, I think someone mentioned it last time I was in here, we have had very few injuries to take kids off the field here throughout the course of spring, and it's allowed us to get better as a defense. Individuals have gotten better, so the overall group has gotten better, but we've been consistent with our lineup out there. The ones have been the ones. We haven't had a lot of changing around, and they're creating some chemistry with each other. There's some confidence. This guy's trusting the guy next to me, both with the D-line, the linebackers, and the secondary, and that's very important. I think if you're shuffling guys in and out all the time, you're not going to create that continuity that you need to be good.
How big a deal was the spring game in Wisconsin? Like, what kind of crowds did you guys draw? And how big?
I couldn't tell you an accurate number. I think my first year there might have been 35,000. Well, hopefully there's going to be a lot more here Saturday. I don't know, but the spring game was a big deal there. I think anytime the football team, wherever you're located, is important, spring game's a big deal. I don't care if you're in the north, south, east, west. Hopefully here, football is very important, and we get a huge crowd.
Have you gotten what you wanted out of the development of the junior college guys you guys brought in this semester?
I can't honestly answer that until we get through fall camp. Have they improved? Yes. But are they where they need to be? No. Now, if they weren't here this spring, would they have a chance at all to even compete? Probably not. Right now, there's differences in all three of them that are here on the defensive side, but they're not ready to play in a game. I don't care who we play against, but they've improved, and we're happy that they're here.
14 practices in, and you guys started fresh slate with everybody. I mean, what have you learned about this roster, and where do maybe your concerns lie going forward?
Well, we have a lot better idea what guys can do, both mentally and physically. That's the number one thing that stands out, because when you first come in, you can see guys moving around in the indoor and your off-season workouts, but you really don't know what they're going to be like when they put the pads on. So we know who can line up, who can communicate, who will go out and put their face on somebody and hit somebody. We know how people are going to respond to adversity. They make a bad play, give up a touchdown. How are they going to respond? So those are the things that we know more about our guys right now at this point. Issues are depth. Honestly, you guys talked about the linebacker position. We got three guys right now in the ones that haven't played really in a game. I don't know how they're going to respond in a game. Hopefully Saturday will give us a little better indication. But depth is a concern, and just how are those three linebackers going to be?
Chris Smith, overall, just what's been your impression of him?
I think he's an outstanding player. I think he's got a chance to be one of the better defensive ends, hopefully, in this league. But he can make plays, and he's going to be a guy that we're going to rely on to do that.
All right, thank you, Coach.
Yep. Thank you, guys.